You know, for more than 4,500 years, the Great Pyramid of Giza has kept its secrets locked away. But today, the game has totally changed. We're not just using picks and shovels anymore. Nope, we're using cosmic rays, thermal cameras, and some seriously sophisticated robots to go where no human has been for millennia. So let's dive in and see how this incredible new tech is peeling back the layers on one of the world's greatest wonders.
And get this isn't some old story. This is happening right now. Just recently, the legendary Egyptologist Zahi Hawass dropped this bombshell of an announcement. A discovery so big, he says, it's literally going to rewrite the history books. So you've got to be asking, what on earth did they find?
Well, a 30-meter-long passageway hidden deep inside the pyramid. I mean, to put that in perspective, that's almost the length of a blue whale, just sitting there, completely hidden from sight since the day it was built. And a discovery this huge doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of work, combining all kinds of cutting-edge technology.
Okay, so if you want to find a secret passage, first you need a treasure map, right? But you can't exactly start swinging a pickaxe at a wonder of the world. So way before they could even think about sending a robot in, scientists had to figure out how to see through solid stone.
So the very first hint that something was up came from the Scan Pyramids project back in 2015. And they didn't dig, they looked. They used these advanced infrared cameras to scan the whole pyramid, looking for tiny differences in heat. The idea is actually pretty simple. A solid wall is going to hold on to heat differently than a wall that has an empty space behind it. And boy, did they find something. While most of the stones right next to each other only differed by about half a degree Celsius, they found what they called an impressive anomaly on the pyramid's east side, a full 6-degree difference. That is a massive thermal clue screaming that something, a void, a chamber, a whole passageway, was hiding just behind the surface.
Now, if you think thermal cameras are cool, wait till you hear this next part. To get a much clearer picture, scientists turned to particle physics. They started using detectors to track these things called muons. They're basically subatomic particles that are created when cosmic rays from deep space smack into our atmosphere. They are constantly raining down on us, and the crucial part is they can pass right through hundreds of meters of solid rock.
So how does this actually work? Well, think of it like a medical X-ray, just on a cosmic scale. First, you put these special detectors inside the pyramid. As the muons rain down from space, the solid stone blocks some of them. But, and this is the key, if there's an empty space, like a corridor, a lot more muons are going to get through to the detector in that specific spot. So by simply counting the muons, you can map out all the empty spaces and create this amazing blueprint of hidden chambers without ever moving a single stone.
So, once you have this incredible map of where hidden voids might be, you've got a new problem. How do you actually explore them? Some of these shafts they've found are tiny, like 20 by 20 centimeters, way too small for a person. This is absolutely a job for a robot. But as they found out, not just any robot would do.
You see, earlier missions had run into a bit of a snag. Robots like the Pyramid rover use these caterpillar-style treads, kind of like a tiny tack. To climb up the steep shafts, they had to jam themselves against the walls and ceiling, and that left scuff marks. That's a huge problem when you're talking about damaging delicate ancient limestone. It was clear a totally new approach was needed.
So, what did Zahi Hawass and the team do? Something kind of brilliant, actually. They organized a competition, a robot Olympics, if you will. They built a perfect replica of the pyramid shafts out in the desert and invited teams to come and basically duke it out. The two finalists were a team from Singapore and another from the University of Leeds in the UK. And the winner? They'd get the incredible chance to send their machine into the real pyramid. And this just shows you what a huge leap in technology we're talking about. The Leeds team's robot, which they named GD, was a total game changer. Instead of those damaging treads, it used these padded inchworm actuators that would gently push against the walls, leaving absolutely no trace. And instead of a fixed camera staring straight ahead, it had this flexible snake camera that could look all around. It was lighter, it was gentler, and it was smarter. GD won, hands down, and a whole new era of robotic archaeology was born. All right, so with the winning robot chosen, it was finally time. Time to send Jetty on its mission. Its target? A tiny chamber, deep inside the Queen's chamber shaft, sealed behind this mysterious stone door that had stumped explorers for years.
The journey itself was just mind-boggling. Dieti had to climb 63 meters up this incredibly steep, narrow shaft. Then it had to carefully poke its tiny snake camera through a small hole that a previous robot had drilled in this stone block, which is famously known as Gaunt and Brink's door. The space it finally got into was unbelievably tight, a chamber just 23 centimeters wide.
And for the very first time, we could see what was inside. What Jetty found was absolutely fascinating. It saw 2 ornate copper pins sticking out of the door and a rough second blocking stone at the very back of the chamber. But it also discovered something nobody had ever seen before. These mysterious red markings painted right there on the floor. Now, because Jetty's snake camera could bend and twist, it was the first to see the back of that door. And what it found was that the 2 copper pins ended in these small, beautifully made loops. This was a huge discovery. It suggested they were probably ornamental, not some kind of structural handle or electrical contact like people had guessed. But what they were actually for? Well, that's still a total mystery. But you know, the most exciting discovery might have been on the floor. Jetty's camera captured these clear images of red markings, and experts quickly identified them as hieratic characters. Think of it as a kind of shorthand or cursive that ancient Egyptians used. Could this be a message left for us by the pyramid's original builders?
And here's the thing, even with this incredible new data, the answer is, well, nobody agrees. The official report from the Jetty team suggests 2 of the symbols could mean 21, but another researcher, Luca Miatello, argues that they actually read 121, which he thinks is the total length of the shaft in ancient cubits. And then others have pointed out that one of the glyphs looks more like the number 200 than 100. So the debate is still very, very much alive.
So Jetty's amazing mission didn't exactly solve the mystery. In fact, you could say it made it even deeper. It created this tantalizing link between the little clues the robot found and those massive anomalies from the scans, and it just opened up a whole new set of questions. Because remember, that little chamber behind the first door wasn't the end of the line. Jetty's camera showed that the chamber is blocked by a second stone, and this one looks much rougher, less finished. It's another dead end. But is it really? Or is it another door guarding whatever lies beyond? And this is where it all comes full circle. Could this tiny hidden chamber, explored by a little inchworm robot, actually connect to that vast 30-meter-long corridor that was detected by cosmic ray muons? I mean, are these 2 totally separate discoveries? Are we looking at different pieces of the same giant puzzle? A puzzle that's showing us a pyramid with a much more complex interior than anyone ever dreamed of.
The work is far from over. New robots are being designed as we speak, and more scans are already being planned. After 4.5 millennia, it feels like we're just now realizing that the Great Pyramid is only just beginning to give up its secrets.